If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Grant Dawson back on the show. He returns to action January 18th at now UFC 246. He will take on Chas Skelly in Las Vegas. Grant, how are you, man?
Fantastic, brother. Thanks for having me back on the show.
Absolutely. It's great to have you back on. Well, as if this fight wasn't exciting enough, the card itself just got a huge boost with the main event. Conor McGregor is coming back. He's going to fight Donald Cerrone in the main event. It's a pay-per-view now. That must have been a nice piece of news for the Thanksgiving dinner table, although you probably weren't crushing turkey and gravy and stuffing or anything like that.
Yeah, hearing that Conor was going to be on the card, man, it's just a great exposure for me. Lots of eyes going to be on me. I do better. The more pressure that's on me, the better I do. So I'm really excited to put on a great performance.
Like you just said, when Conor's involved, immediately more eyes are on everybody else on the card, which is great for everybody, and because that's just what he brings to the table. He also brings a little bit of chaos to the fight week festivities. But you've had 2 fights in the UFC now, 2 dominant wins. You've had to deal with USADA and all that stuff as well, and now you get on a card in Vegas headlined by Conor McGregor. Like, I'm not sure how you feel about it, but like going back and thinking about all the conversations we've had over the years, the ups and the downs you've gone through, everything you've done to get to this point, this is pretty cool stuff, isn't it, to get to this point?
Yeah, man. When you're a kid thinking about being in the UFC, you're always imagining yourself, fighting on the cards with the biggest names in the sport, headlining stuff, and now it's like actually coming true, and it just feels normal. It feels like all the hard work and all of that is paying off, and it gives me something to look forward to later. Like someday some young UFC fighter is going to say, hey, I'm on the same card as Grant Dawson when he's main eventing, so it's going to be pretty exciting. A lot of big names on the card. I'm just so pumped for this fight. Just everything feels right.
We still got a little ways to go here, about 6 weeks as we record this conversation. I know you're training hard, following you on Instagram, making the holiday sacrifices and everything you've had to do. But how has the training been going as you get ready for this fight with Chas Skelly?
Man, honestly, like training is going great right now. Like my training partners, the nice thing about Chas is he's a game opponent. He's a good fighter, but we've got 1,000 guys in our gym with the exact same style. So I'm not short on training partners to get ready for him. My head coach, James Krause, is putting me through my workouts. And I just, when it's camp time, I give him the reins. He tells me what to do. I show up and I do it. So everything's going great. I can't wait to put on an awesome performance.
You're only 25 years old, 2-0 in the UFC, and Chas has been around for a while. He's a veteran of the sport, but you've been in there with a bunch of guys who have a lot of experience in the game. Like Julian Erosa has a lot of experience. Guys like Robert Washington, when you fought him for Titan FC, he was a guy with almost 30 fights of experience. There are others as well that are on your resume, but you getting in there with guys who have logged a lot of miles in the sport is nothing new to you. So when you saw Skelly's name on that contract, how did you react to it?
Man, one thing that me and James, both do really well, we don't look at names. We don't look at experience levels. We don't look at hype trains. The one thing that we look at is fighter A versus fighter B, his skills versus my skills. I don't care if his name is Chas Skelly, Conor McGregor, whoever it is. Like, it's not about the name. It's not about how much experience you have. It's about how do you perform in your fights. How do your skills match up against my skills? That's the only thing we look at. So he can come in here, and he's got a lot of experience, but he's got 4 more fights than me. Like that's not that much, I wrestled in high school. He wrestled in college. We're pretty much the same guy. He's just a little bit older than me. I really don't think his experience is going to be anything that I haven't seen before. I don't think he can throw anything at me I haven't seen before. When we get in the cage, he's not going to be thinking, I have more experience than this guy. He's going to be thinking, man, I can't get this guy off of me.
Chas was coming off back-to-back losses, but then he had that absolute barn burner with Jordan Griffin in Vancouver, and it was such a wild fight, but that's kind of the thing, and you touch on it, that you can expect from Chas Skelly in the octagon. So, like, fans looking at this fight on paper, from a stylistic perspective, people are saying, oh man, this has the makings to be fireworks. Like, do you look at it the same way, or do you feel like you talked about with your skill set, what you bring to the table, your training, the coaches behind you, that this won't be the firefight that people expect here?
Yeah, man. Every fighter always wants to hype their fight. They say it's going to be great. They say it's going to be fireworks, fight of the night. We're walking away with bonus money. And I just don't see it, man. I'm not here to lie to you guys. I'm not here to tell you this is going to be back and forth. He had an awesome fight with Jordan Griffin. The problem is Jordan Griffin sucks. He's terrible. I think he has 0 wins in the UFC. So the fact that he was going back and forth with a guy who's just, in my opinion, one of the worst fighters in the division just shows that I'm going to steamroll this guy. I don't think this is going to be back and forth. I don't think that it's going to be for the night. I think it's going to be a one-sided pounding, and I'm going to be swinging my elbows into his face.
Glory MMA has just been on fire as of late. We saw what Megan did. Sean Woodson did a lot of his camp with you guys. He looked great on that Boston card. Of course, James had that phenomenal win a couple of weeks ago in Brazil. How much has that motivated you and the rest of the team to have those fighters set the table like that and seeing this string of wins being run off as of late?
Oh, man, it's awesome. I was in James's corner for his last fight. He made it 6 in a row. And I just remember after he won, after like everything calmed down, we got back to the hotel room. I'm laying in my bed, and all I could think was, gosh, dang it, man. I cannot wait until it's my turn. Like, I want to get in there. You've mentioned a lot of our big names, but we've also got guys, on the undercards outside the UFC and amateur fighters that are just tearing through people and like showing their skills, and it all from Sean Woodson all the way down to my buddy Mo. Like, they're all winning and they're all doing great, and it's really great to see our team like come together so well, and it's great. And I can't wait to be the next guy to put another notch in the win column for Glory.
How is training with Sean? Being a fellow guy at 145, he's a monster at that weight class. I mean, he is tall, he's rangy, he moves really well, his striking is great. Like, he does a lot of things that typically 45ers cannot do at that size. How did that, help improve your game a little bit, being able to train and work with a guy like that?
Man, Sean's great, man. I don't have a single bad thing to say about Sean. He's everything everybody's saying about him online is 100% accurate. I think Israel Adesanya gave him some props, and it's well deserved, man. Sean is a great guy. He's so skilled. Like, his striking is just out of this world. You definitely got to be on your A game with him. Like, when we get in there, we're in the same weight class. We're close to the same size. He's a little bit taller. I'm a little bit thicker. So we're always competing, and it's friendly competition, and to try to see who's better, and it elevates you. My dad used to tell me there's nothing that'll elevate you more than competition. So when you have competition in the room with another high level guy like Sean, both of our skills just go up and up and up every time we train together.
I spoke with James shortly after his win, and obviously he always has great things to say about you. He mentioned the same conversation about you saying, oh man, I can't wait for it to be my turn. And one of the things he talked about was how great of a coach you are on top of being a fighter. Like James, because James feels, and I'm sure you've heard this a million times from him yourself, that he is a better coach than he is a fighter. Where are you when it comes to that? Like, do you feel like you're better at one than the other right now? Like, I feel like one helps with the other tremendously for both of you guys, but do you think about that stuff at all?
Yeah, man. I love coaching. I have a friend of mine. His name's John O'Brien, and I've been training with him and coaching him since he was 16 years old. And he's about to make his pro debut this weekend. And just to see that, and like to know that I was a big part of helping that, it's amazing. I do think I'm a great coach. If you're asking me personally, I think I am a better fighter than I am a coach. And that might just me being, I want to be a good fighter, right? When I got into this sport, I didn't get into it to be a good coach. I got into it to be the best in the world. I want to be UFC world champion. I don't want to be known as a great coach. When I'm done with fighting, I don't think I'm going to own a gym. I don't think I'm going to stick with the coaching. I'm not sure. I got other plans that I want to do after fighting. But right now, I really, really enjoy coaching, and I really, really enjoy watching these younger guys come up. It's amazing to see, like John, helping him since day one. Now he's making his pro debut, and I really think he's going to be in the UFC someday. And knowing that I'm a big part of that just warms my heart. So I love coaching, but to answer your question, I gotta say that I'm a better fighter than I am a coach. But James is out of this world when it comes to coaching. One of the reasons why I stay at Glory, we have great training partners, we have a great facility, we have a great, around the board. But the reason I stay at Glory is because of James. James is the best MMA coach, in my opinion, right now. Like, he's up there with Henry Hoof, all those guys, and I'm for sure biased, but I think he is the best MMA coach, and that's why I stay at Glory.
I feel like we've been talking for years now, but I feel like fighters say similar things to me all the time when it comes to this. Like, it's one thing to get in the UFC, to sign that contract. Like, yeah, I'm in the UFC, I'm a UFC fighter. It's another to get in there and rattle off a couple of wins. Then it becomes more than just saying you're a UFC fighter. You start to feel that as well. Like, it becomes more real. So for a guy that has been hoping to get that call for a number of years now, this is something you've expected, you've visualized for a long time. Now that you're there, you've won 2 fights impressively, you get a third one coming up in January. Does it feel like you expected it to feel?
Man, yeah, yes and no. Being in the UFC is awesome. I think the coolest part about it is I don't have to work a 9-to-5 job in the nursing home that I worked in. I washed dishes for 5.5 years, so I think the best part, like the most real part for me was like, hey, I'm quitting my job. Like, all I do is train, eat, sleep, and play video games. So like, I'm living the dream right now. But when you think about fighting at the highest level, I feel like I belong here. Like, I feel like these guys, I look at the division and outside of the top 10, I don't think there's a whole lot of guys that give me problems. Like, I can confidently say that I have dedicated my life to this sport. So I should be here. I should be in the UFC. I should be getting those $50,000 bonuses because I've made the sacrifices. I've slept under a pool table for 3.5 months in a house with 12 guys in it just so that I could train at a good gym. Like, I've made the sacrifices. I deserve to be here. And it does feel surreal, but it also feels accurate and correct. Like, I'm meant to be here and I am here. And it's just going to keep going up. A lot of guys say, I'm in the UFC. That's what I wanted. 0-2 and I'm out. But hey, I was in the UFC. That's not me. I'm going to be UFC world champion. And you can believe it now or you can believe it later. It doesn't really matter to me.
Every fight, every second of these fights builds towards that goal of becoming a UFC champion. Like, 2019 was a good year for you. With the win over Chas Skelly on January 18th, it could be a start of an even bigger year for you in the career of Grant Dawson. It all starts next month, but we don't want to look too far past it, but you obviously have visions of the future as well. But what goals have you set for yourself for this year? Like, if we have the same conversation 12 months from now, what will you have had to have done in the octagon to say, man, this has been a great year for me. I've done everything I set out to do?
I will be ranked in the top 15 by the end of 2020. I will be ranked in the top 5 by the end of 2021. And I will be UFC champion by the end of 2022. Believe you me.
Like that, man. How do you see this all playing out on January 18th? You versus Chas Skelly in Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena, kicking off 2020 in a big way. How do you see it all going down?
Man, I'm gonna put my fist on his face for as long as possible, as many times as possible. And I know Chaz is tough. I've fought tough guys before. I'm gonna make him quit. I'm gonna get in there, and he's gonna realize that I'm a different animal.
I know you have a girlfriend who is also a fighter. She is an amateur fighter, a very active one, if memory serves me correctly. Elle Wagman is her name, the ruthless Elle Wagman, and she clearly learns a lot from you and the environment around her. She's learning the ins and outs of the crazy swings that this sport can bring to the fighters. What has it been like, not only as a coach and as a training partner, but, as the boyfriend as well? What has it been like to watch her evolve and grow as a fighter over these last few years?
Yeah, she's actually fighting this weekend. I'm cornering her in a fight this weekend. It's great watching her just grow, and like the improvements she's made since she came from her last gym to here, like, are just incredible. She's had a couple of tough fights. She's coming off of a loss, but man, she's good, and she's just getting better every single day. And like, to see the dedication that she puts in just with her diet and with the training and the hard work. She works like 3 jobs and also trains twice a day. So it's just, and I've been there, I've been there too. So like, seeing her kind of follow through that same path is just awesome. I'm always in her corner, and I absolutely hate it. I hate
Walking
walking to the cage with her. I hate, like I can't help you, like I can't get in there and fight these girls for you, like, and it sucks, and I hate it, but it's her dream, and I'm gonna absolutely support her through her dream 100%, and I love her to death, and I really do see her having a very, very bright future just off work ethic alone. That girl's a little pit bull. Like when she gets in there, she's go, 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 destroy, destroy, destroy. She reminds me a lot of myself in the fighting style. I think she's about to have a great performance this weekend, and we're going to talk about where we need to go after that. But as for cornering her, that sucks, man. I hate it. I hate it. Oh, my goodness.
Are you hoping there's a day you won't have to corner her, or does that help her?
I've tried, man. She was going to have one of our training partners in her corner, and just like 2 nights ago, she's like, I don't want him. I want you to be in my corner. And I'm like, look, I'll be there, so I'll be in your corner, but God dang it, man. Like, it's nerve-wracking. I get more nervous for her fights than I get for mine, because when my fights, it's up to me. Like, I can't help you. Like, I can't fight these girls for you, man.
But before we let you go, I may need your help with something, because I will say this. I have not watched The Mandalorian. I just haven't. I'm against the grain in that aspect. And
I'll pray for you later.
Yeah, I know you posted about it on Instagram the other day, and I just haven't been sold on it to actually go out and watch it. I know I should watch it. Everyone tells me I should watch it, but give me the hard sell, Grant, or tell me to stay on track if you must. Like, give me your Siskel and Ebert pitch on The Mandalorian for me, please.
Did you watch any of the other Star Wars movies when you were a kid, the original 3?
Yes.
Do you remember watching it with your dad or with whoever, and the pure joy you felt when the Force was being used and the lightsabers and the Star Wars, and then we ran into these other movies that kind of aren't great, and it's kind of like, man, Star Wars is kind of going downhill. It's not any of that, man. It's like being a kid again. Every time I watch a Star Wars movie, I have to remind myself to watch it as a kid. When I watch The Mandalorian, I don't have to remind myself. It's such a great show. It's the new Game of Thrones by far. It's gonna be bigger than all of those, man. You gotta get in now. We're only 4 episodes deep. Get in now so you don't have to catch up when we're 19 episodes deep, man. Get in now, man. I just trust me. If you're not hooked after episode 1, you let me know and I'll tell you you're wrong.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm gonna have to watch it now. I'm gonna have to get Disney Plus, and we're gonna have to watch this. But
I'll give you my code so you can watch it. I'll give you my login so you can watch it, dog.
Oh snap! Now I have to watch it. I have no more excuses now. Dang it, Grant. Oh, man. Well, thank you for that. And what we've learned over the last couple of years, and we've certainly seen it recently, that something is in the water in Lee Summit, Missouri at Glory MMA. And there's a lot to be excited about for sure with the team and for you. And that train continues to roll. And it's going to stop in Las Vegas on January 18th as Grant Dawson takes on Chas Skelly at UFC 246. Grant, always great catching up with you, man. We've been doing this for a long time now. Before we let you go, let the folks know where to find and follow you on the web, social media, any shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours, man.
Hey, guys. I just want to give a quick shout-out to my coach, James Krause. I know I say this a lot, but I really do believe that I wouldn't be where I am without him. So, James, if you're watching this, thanks, brother. I love you, man. Thank you so much for helping me through my career. Everybody else, follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to get more Instagram followers, so follow me on Instagram. KGD Grant Dawson. Just follow me on there. If not, kick rocks. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Grant. Enjoy the holidays. All the best to you on the 18th of January, man.
Thanks, brother.